Hi, I have in front of me a swivel and tilt wall bracket. Basically, can support TVs from 17 inches up to 42 inches. And in terms of the VESA standard, it can go from 100 by 100 all the way up to 200 by 200. So very good range in terms of it. The actual build quality in this is absolutely excellent. And it's effectively fully pre-assembled. So I'm going to give a full overview in a minute here. But if you just come along and look here, this is exactly as it's coming as. So you have a bracket that's fully assembled, you just bolt it onto the TV, or bolt it onto the wall and bolt it onto the TV, and off you go. So what I'll do now is I'll just give a demonstration of exactly what's coming in the box. So it's in this outer box here we get first of all. So it's pretty standard. And then we have a table of contents and then just a very, very quick guide on how we do the assembly here. If we go to mount the bracket directly onto the wall with these four plugs and screws which we'd use, obviously look if you're mounting it directly onto concrete or if you're using a sort of stud partition, obviously you'll need to mount it directly onto timber and you might need to get advice off an expert on that if you're not used to it. In terms of the four bolts here, we've actually four sizes of them, so from the smallest to the largest, and that's really depending on the VESA standard your TV is using. The larger VESAs will normally use larger bolts and comes down, so there's a little bit of variance there, and it's allowing for it both in terms of the actual bolts and also the washers. You can see there's three different sizes here. Okay, we have spacers here which can use just for spacing off the TV, and what we have then is we have an Allen key and we also have this spanner here as well which we can use for just adjusting and tightening. So what I'm going to do at this point is I'll just give it a demonstration and talk about the VESA for a moment. Okay, so if we come along here and we just see on the spacing here that comes in it here, we'll see if we use the outer holes, it's VESA 200 by 200, and if we use the most inner ones, it's VESA 100 by 100, and then there's a sort of in between 100 by 200 as well, or 200 by 100 VESA spacing on it. And if we just get looked at, we'll say a TV, in this case it's a very small 19-inch TV, and we'll see the VESA spacing on that is actually 100 by 100. So what we could do is we could use the bolts there, mount this directly onto the bracket, and display it in that manner. Okay, so then the next question we have to ask ourselves, well, which is the top and which is the bottom on it? So what I'm going to do here is we're going to open this out, and what the sure thing here is with TVs generally you want the ability to tilt them down but not really so much up. So what we'll have here is, you can just see here the tilting mechanism on this. We could use the spanner there to loosen this and we can tilt it. So it's going to give us a total of 2 degrees up or 10 degrees down. And if we'll see here the way the bracket's been done, it's effectively been pre-assembled, okay? So what we have here is we just have the actual arms that come out and we can rotate it around and we can rotate it on the base here as well, okay? So it's very, very easy to assemble. We'd obviously be using the four plugs and bolts for doing the mounting here directly here. So you can see the four holes, 1, 2, 3 and 4, okay? So it's all pretty straightforward on it. Now the one thing I'm going to say is that they've tried to improve the aesthetics of this by adding on the plastic covers. They're purely aesthetic, we can have them here. We found these ones are good. We actually have two versions of this bracket that's come in here, and one of them actually came in with a plastic cover on this. So generally what we're trying to do is we actually remove those, and the reason we did is this part here, that type of plastic for that long length when it's narrow and things like that, it's reasonably brittle and wouldn't be ideal, I think, anyway. The other thing to mention about this is, of course, these brackets here are fully covered and hidden by the TV, so there is no aesthetic implications really there. So I didn't really like that from an engineering perspective, and that's why we made that judgment call on it. So that's it, just basically it then. This is the overall bracket thing. Now it's part of a much wider range of TV brackets we have all the rest of it. They're huge sellers for us, simply because we've great brackets, we give the overview on them, we're giving free shipping on them, and they're very, very popular. So that's it anyway, an overview of the swivel and tilt TV wall brackets from TVs from 17 to 42 inches.